guys, and welcome back to Couch Critics. I'm Lamia.
And I'm Ruby, and today we're reviewing The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yes, it's a Prime show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been out for for a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's been out, and what I loved about this show is, from what I figured out, I personally binge watched it like all in one shot, but apparently there has been a new episode coming out every week. So for me, it was such a nostalgic thing because back in like when I was a kid, we would, whatever TV show we would watch, we would always have one episode per week. We never had like the whole season all at once, which like I feel like it has been more common right now.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have a show again where people like are left on a cliffhanger and they're waiting a week to watch the next episode. So it's nice.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find a good position.
Yeah.
I watched the first two seasons back when they were coming out. I think it was like one episode a week, something like that. But for this last season, I did the same thing as you. I waited until all the episodes were out, and then I watched it. I also read the books, which are very similar to the show.
Okay.
But yeah, what do you want to start with?
This show has been this show has been very popular over the summer,
Yeah.
and I usually don't watch shows when everybody's talking about them, but for this one, I just couldn't help it. And yeah, honestly, I'm glad I watched it. I first want to talk about like the vibe, the cinematography, like the whole way it was filmed, the whole setting. I feel like it was such a nice summery setting, and I understand why it got so popular.
Yeah.
Because it was so beautifully filmed, and yeah.
Yeah, the setting is very dreamy. It definitely gives you that summer feel, and you're immediately immersed into the freedom that summer encapsulates.
Yeah.
And you were talking earlier about how the vibe around the show, how everyone was like, like watching the episodes back to back. I don't know if you followed like the whole hype about it on TikTok,
Yeah,
but like
I did.
everyone and their mothers were like watching this show.
Yeah.
Like whenever I would go on any social media, everyone was like Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah. And so like based on what I saw, I was like, I had like huge hopes regarding this show, and also like the public opinion really influenced my opinion about each of the characters. Like to me, Jeremiah did killed someone in the show before I watched the show, and Conrad was like this big knight in shiny armor. And yeah, but I just feel like I've watched a different show.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I totally agree with that, especially the first seasons. And like, this was my next question, like, were you Team Conrad or Jeremiah? But yeah, in the first seasons, like, I don't understand. Like, I understand the whole plot of the movie. It's like these two people that in their heads they're destined together. So I understand why everybody is Team Conrad. But to me, Conrad didn't do as much to make us want to be Team Conrad. It feels like Jeremiah was the one who was like mostly there for Belly, and understand they made him in the plot mess up a little for us to be like, oh yeah, Team Conrad, obviously. But I feel like these were a little bit pushed. Like, I feel like in real life, in the series, I would understand why people are Team Conrad, but if this happened like in front of my eyes in real life, I would totally be Team Jeremiah.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. I'm Team Jeremiah as well. But I tried to like try different approach when I thought about this. And first of all, I'm not gonna like focus about the two first seasons just because they were in high school and they were kids. And and so I don't really want to judge kids.
Yeah.
But like during the last seasons, they were all like 20-ish and above. So they're actually adults-ish. And so my problem is not really with the Fishers. It's not really with Conrad and Jeremiah, because like to me the only thing that could explain their obsession with Belly is the fact that they're grieving, that they're actually going through a huge amount of trauma. So maybe this is the thing that like helps them like focus on something else. But my problem is with Belly. I don't understand how a character like that could get away with so much and be praised and have like people that root for her. She's the worst character that I've ever seen on TV. She's worse than Emily in Paris. It's crazy. She's just like going back and forth between two brothers that she actually has like this fraternal relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost it like to me it almost feels incestuous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like okay, like you know, she was with Conrad. I can get that. Like they grew up together. She had a crush on him. Na 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 na. Then she moves on to Jeremiah, and then she goes back to Conrad only to almost marry Jeremiah, and then goes back to Conrad. And everything is like glorified in the show. It's not even what she does; is how it's portrayed and presented to the audience as if it's the thing to do.
Yeah, and minus the fact that they had a fraternal relationship, like you mentioned, just dating brothers, it's
Yeah.
for me it feels up like that's the biggest incest. Like I don't know, like you've dated one, like pick one and then just
It's
stick with
disgusting.
it, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's like this morning I was trying to like find any justification to as to why we have these kind of thoughts and why a lot like the majority of people don't have the same thought as us. And like to me, like maybe it's because it's a different generation. I mean, we're not 1,000 years old, but like I didn't grow up watching characters, you know, like behave like that on TV.
Yeah.
Well, back when I was in my early 20s or like even a teenagers, I was watching characters like Christina Yang, Meredith Grey, like, you know, Grey's Anatomy, even like Gossip Girl. Like when Serena cheated on her cheated with Nate, like it
Yeah,
was presented as a betrayal.
it's
Same
true.
thing as Grey's Anatomy. Like we had characters like Christina Yang who always like put friendship first, put her career first. And you know, I keep thinking about this quote that she said in Grey's Anatomy back during one of the seasons. She had a patient whose heart broke because he had a heartbreak, like it was a medical condition.
Oh wow.
And she told him even love has its limits. And I kept thinking about that. Does love justify betrayal, disrespect, you know, breaking your brother's heart?
Yes.
It's insane that nobody seems to care about this. I feel like we've watched a completely different show, and like the three last episodes were like over an hour's long, and like people were so happy about that. I couldn't stand any minutes of that.
I loved the last episode because
Yeah.
I just loved how everybody moved on. But I totally agree with the brother
Did
thing.
she move on? Like she got back with Conrad the
Yeah.
minute she saw him. It's the same thing for Conrad. Like I was telling Ruby yesterday. Like he's an Ivy League student who goes to med school. Isn't there any girl out there that could date him? He's not bad looking. He's rich. He's not funny, but like you know, he's okay. But
that's
yeah.
the thing, and I totally agree with that. What really bothered me about the whole thing is that Jeremiah was optimistic,
Yeah.
and we like not we all, but like the general majority rooted for Conrad because he was like this sad, tortured guy. But I'm like, Conrad was also like as if Conrad was the only one suffering because his mother passed away or
Yeah.
was sick. Jeremiah was also dealing with it, but Jeremiah chose to be optimistic about it. He chose to still not optimistic about his mother passing away, but like he was still very positive. He was still always there for Belly, and
Yeah.
it like so yeah, like he did a mistake for me, which was like unforgivable. But yet he was 21 years old when he
Was it even a mistake? Like at least he could say that they were on a break.
yes, and
So technically they weren't together, which you know, like she could still be mad about it. But
yeah,
Conrad treated her like shit
yeah.
when they were together. So
Yes. And Conrad never really like every time Conrad would go back to Belly, it's when things were okay with him. But like the minute things would
yeah.
go wrong, he would take a distance,
Mm.
which Jeremiah never did. And I
Yeah.
feel like this speaks more as to like who you would want to spend the rest of your life with. Because if you're spending the rest of your life with somebody who, as soon as things go bad, is gonna be very like like disconnected
Yeah.
and not communicate and all of that, why would you be with that person? Like no amount of childhood lover or like a promising passion destiny can justify that, in my opinion.
And also like the fact that their mom was kind of like influencing them to
Yeah.
like marry her or something. Like there
Yeah.
are many parts in the shows where like Conrad says that like his mom said that he should marry Belly, etc. So maybe they're hung up on that. This is why like I'm not really hating on the brothers, because at the end of the days they're brothers and to me they're victims. But when it comes to Belly, she's a kid too. She has like, well, I hope like there is a movie coming out. By the way, I hope during the movie she's like gonna realize how bad her behavior was.
I think that's it. I think the movie was the last episode. I don't
Really?
think there's gonna be
I
a
think there is a
movie.
movie.
Is there a movie?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna look it up,
Yeah.
but I heard there is a movie about her relationship with Conrad that will come
Ah,
out,
okay.
something like that.
Interesting.
But I'm not sure. But yeah, I feel like this show, especially the last episodes, were walking on the same steps as Emily in Paris. Like I couldn't help but compare this show to the other ones. Like to me, Gabriel is the same person as Chris Brinley's character Conrad. He's First of all, Chris Brinley. He seems like he hates his character so much. Like he's just there. He's just there. He's given the same energy as Gabriel and Emily in Paris. And to me, Jeremiah is Camille. He like the producers of this show, the directors, they did the same thing as the producers as of Emily in Paris did with Camille. They created this great, fun, very touching character, and then they tried to turn him into a villain.
And they
But it's
betrayed the
too late.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I loved about The Summer I Turned Pretty versus Emily in Paris? Belly lived in Paris for maybe a year and a half, and she learned French. Emily in
Yeah.
Paris needs to take notes. She was actually speaking French, and she was speaking pretty well. And I
Mm.
was so impressed, and I really liked it. And it showed the fact that she had a small apartment in the beginning, like she had 5 roommates. So I feel like it showed like the more honest perspective of
Side.
Paris,
Mm.
which I really respected in the show.
I didn't really like the representation of the Parisian characters in this show. Like to me, there was like this one girl who, as soon as she was introduced into the show, they introduced her as a girl who sleeps with married men, and that's like such a French stereotype. I feel
It
like,
is, yeah.
and yeah, like it's always like that. Like you always have someone singing La Vie en Rose somewhere in the back, and like this other French character who sleeps with everyone and gives no shit about it. And I feel like that's very weird to me. Like I've never been to Paris, but like I don't think that people act like that there.
I hope not. Well,
Yeah. And yeah, it's this show is very problematic. There were also the dialogue is extremely problematic to me. I can't help but be horrified at like what Belly said to Jeremiah when she broke up with him at the wedding. Like it's like I don't know how a show with those lines was made. She was literally telling him, "Listen, let's get married. I love you, even though I love your brother, but I still love you too. But like, I still love him, and I always love him, but I love you too." And then there was also this scene with Conrad when they hooked up at the end of the movie, and she immediately told him to like leave.
yeah.
And yeah, it's just she's the one of the most selfish and narcissistic characters out there, and she had like this whole little monologue about how she should love herself and forgive herself, but we're not forgiving her. Like I'm sorry, I'm so mad. I finished the show today, and yeah, I really had to rant about it.
I loved 22-year-old Belly. I think we
Yeah.
saw a lot of. I also loved like how I personally really loved all the character developments, and I think the show
Yeah.
was genius because from the beginning they kind of led up to how it's gonna end. Like I was rewatching it a second
Mm.
time right now because the first time I wasn't really focused. But Jeremiah, from the beginning, like there's a phrase where Steven says like all Jeremiah cares about is flirting and food, and
Mm.
then Jeremiah ends up like being a chef. And I
Yeah.
just love these small, like, subtle
I don't even think they
hints.
did it on purpose. I think it was just a coincidence. To me, it's the most pushed up and random things ever. Like the love declaration that Conrad did was so out of the blue. He seemed so clueless, and like to me, it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense, and also, yeah, I just I really didn't like Billy. Like, imagine having a friend like Billy. Would you even be friend like with someone like that?
I actually love Taylor as a friend. I think
But
Taylor
that's
is
the
the ride
thing.
or die kind
I
of friend.
really liked Taylor and I
Yeah,
really liked Steven until I
yeah.
realized that they're cheaters too.
Yes, this is the part, and I hate how this show normalized cheating. Like
Yeah,
Jeremiah cheats on Belly, and when she finds out, they decide to get married, and I'm like, what?
yeah. And
Why?
Jeremiah is somehow a villain, but Taylor, who has a boyfriend who, as we've seen, never did anything wrong,
Yeah,
and Steven also has a girlfriend that
yeah,
didn't do anything wrong, are cheating, but like everyone's rooting for them as well. And the adults, they don't seem to care to do anything about this.
yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like,
Like
why?
Taylor's mom tells her to go and get Steven, and like she encouraged, she's like, oh, so like you're cheating, like,
Yeah,
and I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah. And also, like, Laurel, I really liked Laurel during the first seasons because she's this strict mom and she also, like, took cares of the boys when their mom
Yeah,
died, so, which is very honorable. But, like, couldn't she, at, like, any moment tell her daughter to not, like, jump from one brother to another? Like, it's just very weird. And
yeah,
I know, like, we might sound very judgmental, but, like, to me, we should have more shows and more movies that, portray people with good values and
yes,
good, who protect their friendship first, who maybe, like, let go of love because they love their brothers. They have another kind of love that's more precious than another kind of love. And
yeah,
because like, you have a show like this that's being watched by so many people and so many young kids, and they just, like, start internalizing these kind of
yeah.
values, and then it becomes normal, and it's just not
I love
healthy.
that. I love that. I love that point because I do feel like right now with art in general, whether it's music or movies or TV shows, we're normalizing a lot of things that
Yeah.
in my upbringing was not like okay. So it does make a lot of sense. I love that point. But you know what? This show reminds me, for me, it's like modern day telenovela or like
Yeah.
Turkish series. Like it just
Yeah.
reminds me of the things that my grandmother used to watch and that I
Mhm.
would watch with her of like siblings fighting over a girl and then
With
some
like a
like
thousand episodes.
yes, exactly. And I feel like this is why I felt like this show was very nostalgic. I would
Yeah.
not wish to have anything in my life anywhere close to what they were living,
Yeah.
but watching it was so entertaining and it
Mhm.
was filmed so well. But I do agree with you. They are promoting a lot of things that should be more considered on a deeper level
Mhm.
before we start idolizing these characters and their lifestyles.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And also, I also want to talk about the last scene of Billy and Conrad going back to Constance
Cousins.
cousins, and like, I'm sure we were supposed to be wowed by that and happy about that, but I couldn't help but think, what would the family dinner, like, reunion look like with Jeremiah and Conrad? Like, she's back again with another brother. It's so weird and
Yeah.
dystopian to me. I feel crazy.
Yeah, and their father speaking of that, I really didn't like their father throughout the whole series, except towards the end where his reaction to like his children's decisions was just like, what? Like, like they would tell him they're getting married, and he's like, excuse me, and then Conrad would tell
Yeah,
him he loves Belly, and he's like, what?
yeah.
I feel like it was the only character who lived in real life and not in the TV
No,
show.
totally. And
Yeah.
also, just other circumstances were very badly written. Like, Conrad getting into med school. Like, he barely studied for the MCAT. He studied for like 2 seconds, then he got into Stanford medical school, and then, like, he somehow became an intern during his, like, first or second year of. It's just incoherent, and it's, again, like, they're glorifying Conrad and they're making Jeremiah look, like, less than
Yeah,
Conrad.
yeah,
And that only makes us like Jeremiah more because he's more relatable. He's just
yeah.
like this kid who's, despite the grief, he's trying his best to not, like, be mean to everybody.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
fact that they made a big deal that he did an extra semester at university, like to me was complete
Yeah.
nonsense. Like the guy was really trying hard. Also, like Conrad, I totally agree with him. Like he's a med school student, and then he decides to spend like at Stanford, and then he decides to spend like a whole summer not doing anything.
Yeah.
And yes, sure, he had an internship, and he lost it, but like, can't you do something else? Like,
Yeah,
don't
and
do it.
also like during one of the last episodes, he wrote to Billy, I should be studying cardiology, but I don't want to do that. I decided to write this letter to you instead, and I was like, what? I study management and I can't like do that. I don't have the time to do that. You're in med school and you somehow have the time to write letters and to just like take 2 days off and. But again, it's a show. Like
He had a conference and he was ready to skip the first day, and I'm like, where's your work ethic? Go to the first day of the conference.
But I think that was just an excuse. I don't think he really had a conference. Maybe that was just an excuse to see Belly.
I do think he had a conference.
Really?
Yeah.
And also on the other side, like I've been saying from the start of this video that like the boys should have dated anyone else, and like there are a lot of girls, but Belly also should have found someone in Paris. I mean, she's in another country and like she has a lot of friends. Like, why couldn't she get over divorce?
She tried.
Leave those
and
for
failed.
free divorce.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like their mother engraved, like Susanna engraved it so deeply in their heads
Yeah.
that they was just like their destiny to be together.
It's so weird.
We're not gonna do that to our kids.
No, we're not.
One last thing I want to say, I really want to know what the budget was for the music in this series, because there was like Taylor Swift songs
everywhere.
like. Yeah, it was like it was Taylor Swift. I wonder if she was like a producer on the show or something, but they were playing her music, like even other songs. Like the movie starts with Mr. Blue Skies, which is one of like a really iconic song in my opinion, and it just keeps going, and
it ends with Out of the Woods.
Right? Yes. I just think it was iconic. Like, I feel like these things really made us like the show even more. Like, from the filmography to the house. Like, I was in love with the house more than I was in love with any of the characters because, I don't know, it was just so beautiful. So, yeah, I think these are things that made the show feel more like a summer show. And I think it's a big reason behind its success as well.
I loved the songs, but I felt like at a certain time I was kind of sick of hearing Taylor Swift again and again and again because I felt like some songs were like forced. And yeah, it's just like I feel like during the last season especially they kind of like got lazy and they just like counted on the success of that the show already had. And yeah, but also like I think I'm just not the target audience for this kind of shows. Like no, it didn't pass my vibe check. Honestly.
I wasn't in the beginning, but then I was just like, it's such a beautifully made show. I'm just gonna enjoy it. Yeah. Because I feel like most of the times when I watch things, I judge it too much in terms of acting and in terms of like anything really. So getting to watch a show that it's not your kind of show, but it's just like beautiful, it makes me focus less on it as an acting show. It makes me enjoy it more as like a production in general. So yeah, I think that sums it up.
I think so. That's it for The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe.
And tell us if you're team Conrad or Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.